True love is your destiny, and you are both. Welcome to Rewrite Your Reality with Reese, and I am your host. And in today's video, we're going to discuss what destiny really means. Because we have this idea that there is a specific story that you will experience that is your destiny, that has some sort of perfect unfolding regardless of what's really going on, and that's your life. You know, we typically attribute this to people where we say things like, oh, I met the love of my life, this was a perfect unfolding, this always had to have existed, it has to always unfold this way, all of these ideas. Now, while you do and can experience reality in that way, it is in fact only an experience. Here's the thing, there is no such thing as a singular destiny. There's no destiny for awareness. Why? Because awareness is everything. Awareness is choosing only from itself. So why would it only have created a singular destiny? If awareness created one destiny, it is still the creator. And as the creator, why would you only create one destiny that is hard set for your character? Your character must be then awareness as the author creating multiple versions of the same character that you are being. And if you are being a character, that means you are the awareness that is giving light and life to the character itself that exists in all of these infinite destinies that awareness itself must have created. So the idea that someone or something is meant for you is not necessarily correct. It doesn't make sense when you really look at it. If destiny were real, why would timing then exist? What is the purpose of things being in your way? For appreciation, for the other people in my life unfolding whatever they are unfolding, and then, you know, it kind of just works out. Well, then why would anyone have to wait for their person or their moment? If destiny were true, it doesn't make any sense that these things are all in your way, or you had to have gone through them in order for you to just be who you desire to be. If you just had to be who you desire to be to experience what you want, why not then would God have not just made you start that way? If you acknowledge that God is the creator of you, why would God have created you in a way where you had to figure out how to be what God could have just made you? Because you didn't, in this circumstance, intentionally try to be who you want. So what's actually happening then? Because there's so many different ways you can look at this. What's actually happening is awareness simply choosing from itself. That is why you can have so many dreams and people can live so many variations of life and so many highs and so many lows, because reality unfolding from who you are being right now is the only reality. Here's the thing, we think about people who have had these magnanimous expressions of their social generalized experience where we can become aware of it. Like someone lands on the moon or the first flight or something like that, right? And we say, wow, what a thing. And then you don't ever hear from them again. But that identity is experiencing a singular version of itself. But awareness as the identity exists as infinite versions, continuously experiencing height and abundance of who it is through that identity and through the infiniteness of how that identity exists. It doesn't just stop. So when you assume this is who I am, that's a version of your destiny, as in knowing yourself as source, that you have infinite what we refer to as destinies, as in finite experiences of a lived life. Yes, you do have a finite experience of life. You're not here to exist as this physical form forever, even if your physical form exists forever. Fun little paradox there. The world rearranges to reflect the identity. That's not fate. That's just consciousness recognizing itself. And everything is the same consciousness from your point of view. You create the love story by who you are being, regardless of where you are pointed in and as your being. So every love story is an extension of the identity you occupy. That is why it always feels, oh no, this had to have been destiny. It locked in so amazingly, I can't believe it. Yeah, but it'll always do that. Infinity has the infinite locked in experience. In any experience, you decide to lock in as. Why would it not? Why would it only have created this way? If you are infinity and you can create an omnidirectional perfection of any direction being the perfect direction, why would you have stopped on this specific one? Doesn't make sense, right? So when you unconsciously assume, I am in that relationship with that perfect person because you have it as your dream life and you're always thinking about it, whoever shows up will play that role perfectly because you unconsciously, as awareness, just assigned that version of them that you're naturally resonating with in the moment. You will see synchronicities, you will see coincidences, all those movie-like moments, or you won't. Because that version already existed. It doesn't matter, it just depends on how you feel about love and that story in that moment as that identity. But when you feel and know yourself as consciousness, then you realize, hey, these love stories, they can just happen with anyone. It must be true because everyone has multiple or none or one or however many. The feeling of connection, destiny and magic is not attached to a single person. It is a reflection of your state of being. Now, love is not about one person, but one being, one infinite being, one state of love itself. If there really was one person designed for you since the very beginning of time, you would have been with them from the very start. What's the point of going through all of this tumultuous unfoldings and ups and downs? No, to appreciate being with this other person. Okay, but most of the time you forget about those things, and you just focus on being the version of love that you experience. You don't necessarily remember every bad thing that ever happened to you that you experience and say, oh no, I appreciate this because of those things. It might add to the experiencing of being with this person. Hey, I remember when I used to experience love in this way and now I don't. Yeah, sure, that's contrast. But then again, why would you only have it with one person if it was even created in the first place? Why create it once? It's an infinite creation. We just like the story of being someone's one and only, finding your one and only, who finds you to be their one and only. But here's the thing, that physical version of them and you, it is a one and only, but you don't only have that one and only. What makes sense is that love exists with everyone as that feeling of one and only, because that physical them and that physical you, it is a one and only, but there's an infinite version of it, with everyone, because it's just an expression of you. And you are infinite. So it's not separate. It's not a separate event happening to you. You are consciousness interacting with the self in infinite forms. It means love can unfold through any relationship, in any configuration. You don't have to find it, you just are it. And truly, whatever you are desiring, it's going to be unique to you from your point of view. It is real, but you don't have to force it to be real. Just acknowledge the infiniteness of all of it and you can have it. I'm not saying you can't have it. I think you already have it. But this whole die-hard, it's my destiny, as if it's the only destiny, that doesn't just make any sense. And I'm here to point you to the infiniteness of who you are. So even with that relationship you desire, the fact that it isn't a singular destiny means that same relationship actually exists in infinite ways. So it's actually releasing whatever minimalist idea you have of that same relationship to have an extraordinary version of it, because all of those versions are different. That's the whole point. I'm not saying you don't have this one with this person. I'm saying you have an infinite number of ones with the same person in infinite ways of abundance. So it's actually greater than that. And every relationship, when you see yourself as that infinite, must now reflect that version of yourself that's active within you. I am awareness. I am the creator. And when you fall in love for the first time, you're falling in love with the version of yourself that you hadn't met yet, which is you. You're starting to meet the version of yourself that you are that you are loving, which is you. It's always going to be you. It's only ever going to be you. And you try to make it work because it feels like everything. when you meet this person that you fall in love with the very first time, right? Unconsciously. And then when it ends, it's not because love failed, it's because you've shifted into a new version of yourself that no longer matches that old state. When you try to make it work, it's because you're just no longer resonating with us, trying to hold on to that version you no longer prefer to be, because you don't. You didn't lose the person. You released the identity that needed them to reflect who you were being. None of it's your preference anymore. It's like, I want to experience love in the way I desire. This is no longer resonating with me. Each next relationship feels a little bit more truer because you are shedding more layers of this, or rather you are becoming more aware of who and what you truly are and what you truly want to experience, which is the love of just being love itself. And as you are being love itself, everything has to start reflecting love itself. And the path of your least resistance is sometimes moving on, because it's all good, it's all happening. Love selfishly, not selflessly. No one person can experience you. Conscious love is self-directed, not selfish. Now, when you know yourself as awareness, love becomes a little more self-directed. Not in an egoic way, which is typically what people think. No, you're being selfish. You have to give everyone love, show love to everybody, right? But as a conscious participation here, right? And you realize you're not getting love from someone, you are expressing it through someone, and you are experiencing that expression through you as well from them. Here's the thing. It's a bit of a fascinating concept here. When you focus on yourself as awareness, as that love, because you are that love, you realize that it's not a loving thing to just go around saying, hey, thank you to that person. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a nice day. Have a nice day. Let's start with have a nice day, right? Have a nice day. Shall everyone have a nice day? You start to realize this. When you are selfish and love yourself, then you automatically start to experience a version of you that is just loving, because you are naturally love. You don't have to go and unnaturally be loving as an expression. Now, when you say thank you to somebody from this state, you are experiencing love as the version of you saying thank you to this person. The paradoxical, contrasting expression of this love is what you are receiving. So you are experiencing love through yourself, hearing thank you, have a nice day as well. So you are experiencing giving and receiving from your point of view, but it's always your point of view first. So when you say thank you, have a nice day, you are experiencing from your point of view the love that you are being. And when you receive that back, say you too have a lovely day, you are experiencing love from you as you through your own awareness from yourself. It's always you, but you are allowing the giving and receiving to be one experience in one awareness. And only you can do that. Someone else can't do that for you. You don't have to worry whether they are doing it for themselves. They don't necessarily exist as objective versions of themselves. A version of them that is doing this does exist. But when you realize, when you love yourself selfishly, you automatically just be loving, and you automatically enjoy the love that you are receiving, because you know it's always coming from you. But you can only do that when you are actually focused on being loved. That's why that's why the same sparks, intensity, and beauty can exist within someone or anyone, because you're always receiving and always giving from you. The pattern of love follows consciousness, not circumstance. You are the generator of that experience, not the recipient. And I really want you to land on that idea. When you are saying have a nice day, I'm just using have a nice day as an example. Have a nice day. The experience of actually saying someone have a nice day from this loving identity that you are being is also the same mechanism and within the same awareness that you are, that receives. You can't have the experience of receiving without you being there. You can't have the experience of giving without you being there. So you are actually creating the experience of receiving and giving in one go as one experience. It's you as awareness that's just really being aware of it. You cannot even hear, hey, thank you, have a nice day as well. Not because you said that. Not because you said thank you as I have a nice day. You didn't get it from them because you said thank you, have a nice day. It was part of the experiencing of who you are being, which is love. That's why they said in this experience, thank you, have a nice day as well. And you can receive, and you are receiving that. You are receiving it because you are being it. Not because you said have a nice day, but you are being the receiver and the giver simultaneously when you focus on yourself as that love. Because it's a natural thing that you're going to do. People say, don't focus on yourself, focus on love and loving yourself and all this other nonsense. Because they don't realize the natural state is love. So when you're being selfish, but you know you are loving as you are love itself, then it's perfect. Reality rearranges to match who you are being. When you are consciously choosing to be the version of yourself who is in a certain relationship, reality just must naturally adjust. So, it's not about controlling or forcing outcomes, it's alignment. So even if you don't hear someone say, hey, have a nice day as well, they don't matter. Because in your awareness, you know you're the version of yourself that heard. Because you're choosing, revising in the moment, rewriting your reality. In the moment, being the version of yourself that experienced reality. You know what? I didn't like that. Not my preference. I'm not going to do anything about it, but I'm rewriting. Thank you, have a nice day as well. Yeah, perfect. That's my preference. Why? Because I just prefer it. So it's about seeing and realizing when you hear a story. I was married for 25 years and then I met the love of my life. That doesn't make any sense under destiny logic, because why would you waste your time having spent 25 years just to meet the love of your life? No, because then you can spend the next 25 appreciate. Why? That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. You could just, why not 24? Why not 26? See, we have arbitrary logical stories because a story existed, so it must have some logical experience as to its own existence. But it doesn't. It just exists. It just exists. It just already existed. What changed was one of them became conscious and aware and chose a new identity. So even though the 25 years went to 26, 27, 28, 29 and still existed, the branch of which always existed, that awareness that was being that version of themselves, said, I choose something else. And something else must have now started to unfold in that version of awareness's awareness. You are not changing others. You are just shifting to timelines where your current self already existed with a corresponding version of them. You are the love of life itself. There is no love of your life. For the very simple reason, there is no life that is an objective life that you are living. The only objective thing about you is that you are awareness, that you exist. Truly. There's nothing else. You are reality, you are awareness. These are the only objective facets of life. You are love itself. The consciousness in which all love is expressed and exists in and as. When I say you are love itself, I literally mean that. I mean, when you just imagine some amorphous blob, maybe you can make it pink if you want, or red, I guess. And imagine this blob taking the form of your physical self and someone else's physical self, and those physical selves that you are with are always changing. That's what I mean. Like you are literally taking that form of them. And when I say imagine the blob, understand that it is this invisible, non-local knowing taking the form of a blob, taking the form of your physical self. And we can be silly about this because it just exists anyway. The explanation that I'm giving existed before I gave it. Now, whatever you choose, you are already in love with because it is made of you. So you can't love it any more or less than what you already love it as. You can only be more or less conscious or unaware of what it is. And what it is you. So when you're more conscious of yourself, you're automatically being more conscious of what it is, which is you. And you are being the version of yourself that loves that version of them. Why? Because it already existed like that. So whether or not you are with anyone, you remain that love that creates them in the way that they are currently being created in your awareness. And that creates every version of reality, including yourself. You are not separate from love. You are love. You are not in reality. You are reality. I am your host, Reese. This is Rewrite Your Reality with Reese. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for the questions, as always. Much love, much light to each and every one of you. Thank you for liking, thank you for sharing, thank you for being here, thank you for joining, thank you for subscribing, thank you for emailing me comments and questions that you guys want to find out and ask. Thank you for joining the TikTok page, thank you for joining the Instagram page, and thank you for joining the Facebook page. Much love, much light, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.